Oh, mate, hey up, fellas. Fucking hello and welcome back to uh, Nate without a script and a microphone and a 2 a.m. thought. I just, scrolling through Amino as I do. Because I'm a weird person like that. And I saw that someone uploaded a Rep 70 Orochi montage. Now, normally I don't watch montages, but for some reason, I only just questioned myself, why? Why do I not watch montages? I remember I used to really like montages. In fact, I've even made one. It's on the channel. It's a Tiandi one before CCU hit. So, why do I not like montages? They're cool. In fact, they are cool. Sometimes they are. And it only just struck me as to why. I don't know if anyone would, sympathise with me with this. But montages are full of a particular game mechanic that's a little bit overrated, at least to me. That's deflects. Deflecting is seen as like some magic shit that like only like the top fucking players can pull off. There's no reason to do it. A lot of people kind of get that, and people are like, "Oh yeah, I mean, you could parry the light, but you could also just deflect it." I don't get it. I don't get why deflects are in like every single montage ever, because in reality, they're not more difficult to pull off than just a parry. There's nothing stylish about a deflect to me. Especially on someone that, say Shinobi deflects someone. That's not immensely skillful. He has two opportunities to do so because of his double dodge, and you're allowed to fuck up. Plus, he does about 5 damage with it. The 5 damage is all that's like guaranteed. He does nothing. I mean, Shinobi just doesn't do damage in general, but you get what I mean. So, why are deflects seen as this bastion of skill? Honestly, if I had to guess, it would just be because people don't do them super often, so they're seen as like, whenever you see someone using an obscure part of someone's kit, it's always, just seen as a skillful thing. I remember back in the day, I got called a really good warlord, even though I wasn't really that good at all, and still I'm not. But the reason why people called me a good warlord is because I used to use his optimal heavy parry punish rather than superior lighting like I should do. I instead used his like shield bash like riposte thing, and I do now just because that's the optimal amount of damage. It used to be zone, obviously, but back when I first played Warlord, I was like, oh, this is cool how he has like a special thing that you can do. So I just sort of did that a lot, and people said, "Oh, you're a really good warlord," and I'm like, "Am I? What the hell am I doing? You're using? I didn't even know warlord could do that. That shield bash thing." I was like, "Huh? Okay, does that matter?" Yeah, of course it does. Just kind of does. Apparently, just that's all you need to be good at the game is to use parts of people's kits that people don't see very often, and all of a sudden you're really good. Playing them optimally isn't the idea. It's playing them differently. God, that's depressing, actually. Come to think of it, playing a character differently is seen as more skillful as playing them well. That's just kind of sad more than anything. I mean, I kind of agree with it to an extent, You see a Griffin who's playing them optimally, it's not really that impressive. But you see them playing them differently, different to all of the other Griffin players, and all of a sudden they're seen as some sort of bastion of skill. Similar to these Rep 70 Orochis that deflect everyone. There's kind of no reason to do it, there's no reason to waste damage or anything. They just do it because it looks cool or something. I don't know. But here's why I don't like deflects, right? So you get praised for not parrying an attack and instead just going for a different kind of parry, basically, right? You could parry that heavy or you could deflect it. Let's take into account the amount of risk that goes on during a deflect, right? So you dodge into a heavy, right? Now, Believe it or not, deflecting is similar to parrying in that it eventually it just sort of becomes muscle memory on the timings for them. If you play a character with deflects enough that are good, say you're a berserker main, you probably know how to deflect most attacks in the game. You know, because your deflect is really strong, so you want to use it. It's a guard break. It's fucking amazing. It's really, really good deflect. So you know the deflect timing now for literally everyone. Similar to if you learn the parry timings on certain attacks, you can learn the parry timing on every character in the game. It doesn't change. It's a completely universal move. Is a parry. Same as a deflect. The button might be different. The animation might be different. The amount of damage you get might be different. But in practice, it's the same. If you deflect as one character, you can deflect as everyone. So you know the amount of risk involved in execution is pretty low. It's the same amount as a parry, roundabouts. You know, if you deflect as much as you parry, you can deflect pretty well. Most likely, you can deflect pretty much 100% of the time. So there's no execution involved in it. It's easy enough to do as long as you have the muscle memory for it. Obviously, most people don't, but that's kind of besides the point. Anyway, the amount of risk, fundamentally, how much risk is there in, deflecting rather than parrying? Well, if you go for a parry, you die to GB, right? If you go for a normal parry, say Shigoki throws a heavy, and you just go for a parry, right? If you just go for a parry, you die to GB. GB, feint to GB, you get caught by the GB, you fly away. Simple. You land the parry, you get your heavy parry punish, right? That's the ideal scenario. So you die to GB, yeah? Right? If you go for the deflect, you've also died to GB, because you've just dodged. In fact, for some people, you don't even die to GB, because you're GB immune while you're dodging. See, in fact, Orochi's dodge light has GB immunity, to my knowledge. I've never been GB'd out of it. So that's the same amount of risk. Is it an option select then? No, not really. Though versus some characters it can be seen as maybe an option select, because if you go for a deflect on, say, a Raider heavy, and it turns out to be a stunning tap, you've dodged the stunning tap, but you've also deflected the heavy. It's kind of an option select. So now people are getting called skillful for kind of just OSing things. And now here comes the great thing that a few people will be telling me, which is, oh, but what if they deflect lights? That doesn't tell me that you're a skillful player. In fact, if anything, I think you're just stupid because you've just given up damage just for no reason. Instead of parrying the light, which to me is pretty impressive as is, you've literally just deflected it instead. Instead of getting a heavy, you got a deflect thing, which is just objectively, literally less damage. It's less optimal. There's no reason to do it. You've just told me that you're a cocky prat. That's what you've done. You've done nothing else. And on the topic of parrying lights, I'm actually not too sure if reading can be really seen as skill, because some people are immensely easy to read, but in montage format, it's difficult to see if the opponent is an easy read or not. If you read right versus someone who's legitimately tried to condition you the whole game, that's like a legitimate mind game. That's a legitimate, you've seen through their lies, and you've just hit them with some shit. And honestly, that is skillful because you've held up. That's skill to me in fighting games, right? But if you read a warmonger who just fucking lights on recovery constantly, and you do that 4 times in a row, and she's quite obviously just never going to change her fucking ways, then, not quite as cool, at least to me. So I don't really know where I stand on that, because sometimes read parrying is, honestly a genuinely really difficult thing to pull off, and sometimes it's ridiculously easy. It just depends on the person. Realistically, it's not reliable enough for me to say, read parrying is a skillful thing to do, because it isn't always. So I don't know. I don't have enough information here. But yeah, this was a fairly short video-ish, just kind of detailing a thing I thought of. I like to do this a lot. I might actually make more videos in this kind of format because I just kind of like it. I just sit down at like 2 o'clock in the morning. I get some footage, of some funny shit that happens, like me wanting to hit minions or spook people, but they actually have like brain cells and it's annoying. Or like I die to light spam and they just get less laughed, and I'm playing this peacekeeper. I don't know. But yeah, I like these kinds of videos because I get to state some opinions, get some thoughts flow in, tell people what's on my mind. Really random topics that I can't, turn into entire proper videos. I'll just sort of sit down with a microphone, speak into it, speak my mind. It's a lot easier, and it's a good way to sort of spark some conversation, especially about something like For Honor, where thoughts about things come and go depending on how rage-induced I am. I still don't like Griffin, but every time I play versus him, I just get more and more annoyed. Jesus Christ. Completely forgot to add, also. Enjoy the new outro, because it's a thing now.